Hi. Um, I've been debating on whether or not I wanted to make this video, and I finally decided that I think that it's best because there's not really a lot of information out there. There's not really a lot of people telling their experiences with what I'm going to talk to you about. So, my entire life, I have had people I've woken up and had people right here in my face going, I was just making sure you're breathing, making sure you're alive, you stopped breathing, you snore really loud. And so I've had this problem all my life. So in 2014, I went and saw an ENT doctor, and he recommended that I do a sleep study. At that point, I was falling asleep in mid-conversation, falling asleep driving down the road. It was pretty severe, like narcolepsy is what was basically going on. So, I'd be mid-conversation and I would just fall asleep. And so I did the sleep study, and about 45 minutes into the sleep study, the person conducting the sleep study said, I can't let you continue the sleep study without trying to put you on a CPAP. She said that you've stopped breathing so many times that we just can't be liable for it, so we have to put you on a CPAP. That entire night I was choking. They tried to adjust the titration settings, and it wasn't working. And that's when I found out that I'm CPAP intolerant. So it's not like I can just go get a machine and, breathe better and have that to rely on every night, like most people can. So at that time, the ENT doctor recommended that I do a surgery called the UPPP surgery. And basically what that is it's where they remove your tonsils, your soft palate tissue, your uvula, adenoids. There was a lot of things that were removed. And that was like one of the most brutal surgeries I think anybody could ever have. It was very painful. The recovery was horrible. The first couple of days I felt fine. And I think that's because I was still under the anesthesia. I was in the hospital, so I was receiving the IV pain medication and everything like that. And then I went home, and when I got home, I just remember being in so much pain that I would lean over and I would take a shot of pain medication, and I believe it was like codeine. And I would take a shot of that and I would pass out, and then I would wake up in excruciating pain, take a shot of it, and I'd pass out. And it got so bad that my sister had called to check on me, and she said that I was, not making any sense. So she decided that she was going to come and physically check on me. And when she got there, I was really dehydrated, and so she took me back to the hospital. And this was about 3 days after being home. So it was about a week after the surgery. So I ended up going back to the hospital, and the ER doctor basically said that if I wouldn't have got there when I did, given another day or two, I probably would have died from dehydration. So that surgery was pretty major. So after I finally recovered from that, I did feel better for a few months. I wasn't as tired. I had more energy. I was actually able to go to the gym and work out. I was, feeling better. But gradually I could feel this fatigue setting in again. The fatigue, the headaches, everything setting back in. And so I thought that it was my other health issues. I assumed it was my kidneys, causing all of these problems, or, whatever underlying disease, that was just hiding in the background. And I just was in a lot of pain for a long time. And it just got worse and worse and worse. I gained weight. I, just again, not able to stay awake. I couldn't get out of bed in the mornings. Headaches were so bad that I couldn't function. And, it was always nauseous, just never felt good. So fast forward to 2018. Whenever I had my UPP surgery, they had told me that I needed to have my septum fixed, because on this side right here, they couldn't even get the scope in, because there was no room for the scope, because my septum was that bad. So the doctor had said that he wanted to fix it, but he said it was too much to do at one time. So in May of 2018, I had my deviated septum fixed. That, was a simple, procedure. The first couple of days, there was a lot of pain. It was mainly uncomfortable because I had, these things in my nose, these plastic things, and I kind of had a pig nose. My nose was like turned up like this, and, you know, um, but they had these things in my nose, and it was more uncomfortable, I think, than it was like painful. Um, Especially considering, the other surgeries that I've been through in my life, including especially the UPPP. So, anyways, I did the septoplasty. I remember whenever the ENT pulled out the tubes and they flushed my nose, I was like, oh my gosh, I can actually breathe through my nose. It was the first time I ever remember having air go through my nose. So I was thinking, yes, I'm going to go home tonight and I'm going to be able to sleep in the same bed with my husband because I'm not going to snore and I'm going to feel so much better. Wrong. I still snore. I still had issues. My husband would still tell me, it's like you're stopping breathing in the middle of the night. It's really bad. It's really scary. So in October, I went to have another sleep study done. And after the UPPP surgery and having my deviated septum fixed, my AHI score was still 100. 30 is severe, and I'm at 100. So I, as of right now, stop breathing 100 times per hour every night. I wake up in the middle of the night and I feel myself gasping for air. A lot of times there's confusion. There have been times that I've woke up and I couldn't see. Like literally, like I felt like I was blinded for a couple minutes before my vision actually came in. It was like somebody had just done this to me, and it was pitch black and I couldn't see anything. So it's been really scary. It's had an effect on my heart. My blood pressure has been all over the place. It's been uncontrollable. My kidney doctor has tried to get my blood pressure under control for quite some time. My heart rate has been, very fast, very accelerated, over 100 beats per minute for many months. And sometimes it's really bad in the middle of the night. I can wake up and I can take my blood pressure and my heart rate, and it's like through the roof. So all of these events that I'm having, they're affecting my entire body. They're not just affecting the quality of sleep or, making you tired. I don't think people understand how serious obstructive sleep apnea can be. So I went back to the ENT after they did my sleep study, and he just wanted to sell me a CPAP. And he basically said, look, it's all in your mind. The fact that you can't tolerate the CPAP, it's a mental thing. You need to do this. But if you don't do this, you're going to be dead in 5 years. If you don't do something to help your sleep apnea, you're going to be dead in 5 years. It's that bad. You're risking a major cardiac event. And so I was, kind of shocked by it, and of course scared. I'm in my 30s. I don't, want to be dead in 5 years. I have children. I want to watch grow and see, grandchildren. And, I just got remarried. I want to grow old with my husband. I want us to have a life. I want to be able to travel and feel good enough to take vacations, and, to feel good enough to walk down the street and walk our dog, which are things that I haven't really been able to do, because this obstructive sleep apnea has been such a hindrance on our life. It's basically controlled my life for a really long time because it just makes me feel horrible. So I found a surgeon who does what they call an MMA surgery. And what an MMA surgery is basically they basically break your upper and lower jaw and they extend it forward. And with that, they extend the tissues and everything forward, and it opens your airways more. And so I went to see this person. There's only 4 surgeons in the city of Houston that perform this surgery. And I went to see one of them. And he informed me that because I had a narrow jaw, that he would have to go in through my neck on both sides in order to be able to perform the surgery. So it was pretty scary. Told that I was going to wake up on a ventilator. It's pretty scary stuff. I was going to be in ICU for a while. But because of the triple P surgery that I had already had, he was concerned because of my palate tissue being short. He was concerned that it was going to cause something called hypernasal speech. Now, hypernasal speech, whenever I first heard that, my first thought was, people that talk through their nose, like Fran Drescher, the nanny. And I was like, I can deal with that, But then whenever I found out what it really was, it scared me. And so he wanted me to see one of his colleagues, another ENT, who could do a special scope that could, basically test my my voice box, my cords, my vocal cords, to see if I could still perform these, words with having the surgery, the MMA jaw surgery. So I went to see the ENT, and he had ran the scope. And he looked at me and he said, I'm not sure how you're breathing right now. Your throat, there's a lot of extra tissue in your throat, and the breath is so small, the hole for you to breathe through is so small in your throat. I don't know how you're, actually breathing right now. And so that was kind of like, oh, wow, that's a little scary. And he also told me that my tongue was, too big for, the base of my tongue was too big, and that, my whole tongue was too big. And that what he felt like what was happening was basically my tongue was collapsing and covering up the little bit of room that I did have, and that was what was, causing some of my events. But he wanted to get with the facial surgeon so that they could kind of work together to find a plan of action. So basically what they did is they've decided that they're going to do a tongue reduction surgery. And once I heal from that, they're going to do another sleep study. And then once they do the next sleep study, if there has been no improvement or little improvement, or if I still have severe apnea, then they're going to proceed with a 2-part MMA surgery where they're going to advance my bottom jaw. The first surgery, and once I heal from that, then they'll advance the top jaw, which has a 12-month recovery time. So it's not something that's just, something that's going to take, 4 weeks and, boom, I'm feeling great and feeling better. They've mentioned some things that I just don't even want to think about because it's kind of scary. So tomorrow, I will have the phase 1, where they're going to reduce the size of my tongue. They're going to then pull my tongue forward. From what I understand, it's going to feel worse than the UPPP surgery did. I'm not looking forward to the pain. I'm not looking forward to the recovery. But I am looking forward to results. If I can get, just halfway better, that's enough for me to say it's worth it. So I'll make another video and try to show you guys my recovery and how everything goes as it goes along, because I know that there's not a lot of people that have done blogs on the tongue advancement surgery or the MMA surgery, for sleep apnea. There's not a lot of people that have done them. I've been looking all over the internet, looking all over Google, YouTube, things like that, trying to find some kind of, what do I expect? Am I going to be able to eat? Am I going to be able to speak? Will I be, writing things down for my family? How long is the pain going to last? How bad is the pain going to be? I don't know. All I know is what the doctor has told me, and he hasn't been through it himself, so I don't think he really knows. So I wanted to do this video to kind of give you guys a first-hand account of what's going to happen. So tomorrow, November 30th at 5 a.m., I'm going to leave my house and arrive at Houston Methodist at 6 a.m. And I'm the first surgery of the day. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to do a sleep endoscopy. Basically, they're going to put me to sleep with propofol. That's a medically induced sleep. Then they're going to add a scope down my throat. And then from there, they're going to see exactly where the obstructions are taking place so that they have some idea. Sorry, I'm wearing my blood pressure cuff because I had a little bout of some high blood pressure. So I've kind of just kind of left it on because that way I can take my blood pressure periodically. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, because I want this to be an open book. I want everybody to be very well informed. And the something I forgot to mention is the reason that they are doing this in stages is because my palate is in fact too short, and they are fearing that if they went through with the MMA surgery and went straight to that, that I could end up with a hypernasal speech, which would mean that my life would change. Not for the better. I'd basically be giving up one disability for another. So, so that's where we're at. I'm pretty nervous. I'm pretty scared. I'm very confident in my surgeons, both of them. They seem to know a lot about what they're doing. But most of all, they seem to care about what they're doing, which is very rare with doctors, thankfully. Luckily, praise God, I have a really good team that's looking out for me. So, I guess I'll check back in with you guys in the morning and let you know, kind of let you see what's going on in the morning. I'll probably have my husband do some pictures, or maybe some video of me after the surgery, just so you guys can kind of see if you're considering this, or if you feel like it might be something that could be beneficial to you, then, you know, something that way that you kind of know what you're up against. So anyways, so I'll check back in with you guys in the morning. Good night.